Hello everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the minutes to midnight, which is a symbolic representation of the world's proximity to a global catastrophe. The term, minutes to midnight, is commonly used to convey the degree of proximity the world is to a global disaster, primarily due to the potential of a nuclear war or other existential threats. The phrase comes from the symbolic Doomsday Clock, maintained by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, which represents the likelihood of a global catastrophe based on the assessment of various existential threats. The clock has been maintained since 1947 by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, and it's a visual reminder of the existential threats facing humanity. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the clock, how it works, and what factors determine its setting. It was first created in 1947 in the aftermath of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, with midnight representing the point of global catastrophe. The ominous setting of the clock each year by the Bulletin's Board of Directors serves as a chilling reminder to the public and policymakers of the dire need to address the apocalyptic threats facing humanity. With each tick of the clock, the world is ominously reminded of the looming specter of catastrophic disasters, and when the clock is set closer to midnight, it is a signal that the world is teetering on the brink of the abyss. The clock's setting is a call to action, urging leaders to take swift and decisive action to avert the looming global catastrophe. The Doomsday Clock remains an important symbol of the world's vulnerability to catastrophic events and serves as a reminder of the urgent need for global action to address the existential threats facing humanity. How does the clock work? The clock uses a symbolic minute hand to represent the likelihood of a global catastrophe, with midnight representing the point of catastrophe. The closer the clock is to midnight, the more urgent the situation is. The clock setting is determined each year by the Bulletin's Science and Security Board, in consultation with a board of sponsors that includes distinguished scientists and public figures. The clock has been adjusted 25 times since its creation, ranging from 2 minutes to midnight during the height of the Cold War to 17 minutes to midnight in 1991 after the end of the Cold War. What factors determine the clock setting? The clock setting is based on a range of factors, including nuclear threats, climate change, emerging technologies, and political instability. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists uses a multidisciplinary approach, bringing together experts in science, international security, and environmental science to determine the clock setting. The setting is not just based on scientific evidence but also takes into account political developments and other factors that can influence the likelihood of a catastrophic event. It's important to understand the factors that determine the clock setting, and to recognize that the clock is not just a scientific tool but also a political one. Over the years, the Doomsday Clock has been adjusted 25 times, with the setting moving closer or further from midnight depending on the state of global affairs. Some notable examples of times when the clock has been adjusted close to midnight include 1953, the clock was set at 2 minutes to midnight, in response to the United States and Soviet Union both testing hydrogen bombs. 1984, the clock was set at 3 minutes to midnight due to heightened tensions between the United States and Soviet Union during the Cold War. 2018, the clock was set at 2 minutes to midnight due to the threat of nuclear war, climate change, and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence. 2020, the clock was again set at 100 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been, due to the failure of world leaders to address nuclear war, climate change, and the risks associated with emerging technologies. The purpose of the clock is to raise awareness of the existential threats facing humanity and to encourage action to address them. Currently, the Doomsday Clock is at 90 seconds to midnight. The hands of the clock gloomily point towards our inevitable fate, a fate that draws ever nearer with each passing moment. The tolling of the clock serves as a chilling reminder of the fragile nature of our existence and the precariousness of the world we inhabit. As the clock ticks on, the shadow of our impending doom looms larger and darker, a terrifying specter that hovers over us all. The clock is ticking for humanity, and time is running out. It is something worth thinking about. Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment below to share your thoughts on the minutes to midnight clock.